So here is another class for our structure. For this one, we'll be using fishbone and we'll be using organza. So this organza is quite soft and silky. You can see it has a shiny surface. So I'm just going to go ahead. I'll measure the desired. So for this example, I'm using 40 inches. That will be your choice. I folded this is 2 yards. I folded it and then I'll take the 4 yards and mark. So I'll mark that and then I'll cut it out. So we are going to be doing 2 types in this one. We'll be doing the laminated one and the unlaminated one. But for this particular video, I'm going to be showing you how to laminate it. While much later, I'll show you how we'll do a structure without laminating the fabric. So don't forget I said this is about 2 yards and I cut length 40. So what I'm just doing now is I folded this into 2 and then I am ironing. So there's no power supply, so I'm making use of coal stove iron. So I'm ironing this into 2 equal half. You can see that I'm concentrating especially at the folded edge, the middle folded edge. So I'm just ironing this organza so we can have a smooth and silk look. Also I'm ironing especially the middle. You know, I folded this into 2 equal half. This particular folded part that I'm concentrating on, the reason is because I want to get the midpoint of the organza. It's very essential. I want to get the midpoint of the organza. And why do I want to do that? I want to laminate this organza. Remember that organza fabric, they are very, very slippery in the hand. So I want to laminate it. So here I'm already arranging my M stay. I'm going to be using hemming gum. That is what I'll be using for the lamination. So to laminate just means to thicken, to coat, like to add strength to your fabric. So, and you can make use of an M gum. Actually, they have this bigger M gum that they sell in yards, but I don't have that at my disposal at the moment, so I'm making use of this one. So I have to be arranging it one by one, but that's okay. Now please make sure you start that arrangement from the middle of that line that I arranged, that I ironed. Please use low heat when you want to iron it. Please start this lamination from the very midpoint of this fabric. That was the part I was ironing, that was concentrating my ironing on. Reason being that it's the middle. So I want to get that midpoint. I will be ironing from that point out so that we won't go and have any part of our organza folding in or having air. I hope you understand. Also, you need steam for this. So that's why earlier I was putting water, because like I said, there's no power supply to use the steam iron. So I sprinkled water on this before putting the iron so that it can still generate steam. Because without steam, this will not lay flat. So then I'll just go ahead and iron it. When I'm through with this one, I'll open again and I'll continue and repeat the same process like I'm doing now. So I'll add another M stay. I've just done one side, so that side is already pressed down. So I'm just doing this other side. I'll just keep doing that until I'm satisfied, or until I've gotten to the edge of the fabric that I need. So I'll press that again. I'll put steam. I'll press it again. Just repeat the same process till you are done. Please note that the ironing starts from the middle out. You understand? It starts from the middle out. You can see how I'm using the iron to brush out all the excess air out. So here is the laminated organza. So I'm just going to go ahead and sew this now. So I'll be sewing about 0.25, just wide enough for the fishbone to enter. It's not going to be too wide and it's not going to be too thin, so that the fishbone can conveniently go inside. This is way smaller than half an inch. It's not up to half an inch. It's about 0.25, about quarter of an inch. So that's what I'm using, because the fishbone is not that wide or big. So I'll just go ahead and sew this down all the way. So I'll be sewing the second line, and I'm going to be leaving about ½ inch distance between each sewing. half-inch distance between each sewing. As you can see, the distance between my first channel sewing and the second one is about half an inch. So I'm going to space it like that all through, so that each bone will have a distance between the first bone. So I'm now at the last one, so I'm going to be cutting off the excess because I don't need to compulsorily use all the organzas. It's not compulsory. So the structure I'm making is not that wide, so I'll just trim that off and I'll hem it neatly to also be a channel for one of our bonings, for one of our fish bones. So I'll just hem it down, but I won't be hemming it big. I'll be hemming it as the same size of what we have been doing before. So these are the fish bones. These are called fish bones. Fish bone. So there are different types. We have the ultra slim fish bone. Look at it. This is very different from a fishing line. Please, this is not a fishing line. It has more strength and more structure, different from a fishing line. This is strong. I hope you understand. Fishing line it has a softer texture. So this is not a fishing line. It's thicker and stronger. So this is the slim fish bone. So I'll show you a picture where this particular size was used for a structure. So you can use this size depending on what you are trying to create. Now this is the next size. So this is quite thicker than this other one. As you can see, this is also a fish bone. This is what it looks like. It is also very stiff and rigid. It has this, you know, strength, and it's bigger than this one. So this is it. And then the next one, which is way thicker, also a fish bone. You can see the sizes. So this one, when you want to achieve a stronger and bigger fish bone structure, you use this. When you want to achieve something smaller, you use this. When you want to achieve something really tiny and more flat, you make use of this. I hope you can see the difference between the three. You can also make use of tissue organza. This is a tissue organza. As you can see, it's really soft. It's called tissue because it has this fragility like a tissue. So these are tissue organzas that can be used. Another organza, there are some organzas that you see that has this shiny look, just like this one in the practical that we are doing. Okay, so without wasting much of our time, this is the laminated structure that we are doing. This one, it has not been structured anyway. This has only been sewn. So we sewed this on the machine already. So this is the one that has been laminated. You can see that it already has strength on its own. So this is the second one we did. We didn't laminate this, so it means that this fabric is single. So for those of you that are still confused about what lamination is, lamination means to double your fabric and to stay it together to give it more strength. So that's why you see this one is looking thicker than this other one. So this one is a single organza. You can see it's single, so it has also been sewn with the spacing in between. So we're just going to go ahead and cut our fish bone according to size. So I'm going to be boning these two so we can see the difference between the laminated one, the outcome of the laminated one, and the outcome of this one that is not laminated. Okay, so this fish bone, you can get it in market. I got this from Tejosho market, so it's quite available in the market. Just say you want to buy fish bone. It's different from the regular boning that we use, please. This is round in shape. This is round. It's not the same boning that we use, so it's called fish bone. All right, so just go ahead and cut the needed structure, the needed fish bone that we need to put into this. So I'm going to be using this medium size boning. You know, I said there are two. This is bigger and then this is the smaller one. I'm going to be using the smaller one, even though we didn't prepare this for the smaller one. We prepared this for the bigger boning.
That's why you can see that each of the sewing here is quite big. That's because, you know, the original plan was to use the bigger fishbone issue. I want us to use this so that we can see the effect of the small boning too. I hope you understand. I just want you to see what the small boning also can do, different from what the big boning can do. So we'll just manage this spacing that we already created for the big boning. We'll use it for the small boning so we can just see the effects that the two of them can give us. So I'm going to be measuring 50 per length. I'm going to be measuring 50 per length of this. So I'm going to measure 50 inches here. I'll be doing 50 inches all the way. So here is 50 inches. I'm just going to cut that. I'm going to cut that like that. So this piece is 50 inches. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to count how many we have here. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Now 50 inches by 50 in 15 places. So this is just one. I'll continue to measure until I have 15 of this. I hope you understand. So all these have been cut into 15 bits. So this is one here. This is another one by the length we want. As you can see, this is another one. So all together we have 15 here, just enough for everything we need to do. We cut this into pieces, so this is what we have. So the next thing we're going to do is that we're going to go and bond the edge. That's because it's now sharp and it can pierce the organza or whatever fabric you are using. It can pierce it and damage it. So to avoid that, we're going to go ahead and go and bond off the edge just to smoothen the edge of everything. So we'll do that and then we'll come back and insert these bonings. So we bond off all the edges for this. It's time to just impute it into our structure. So don't forget, we said we didn't create this originally to take this tiny bone in this. So if you want to use the tiny bone, it means you have to gauge the the wideness of this when you are sewing. You won't be using this amount of wideness because this bone is not as wide as it. Can you see? So, but like I said, would manage it. So you have to be careful with this even after boning because the organza is quite fragile. So let's get into the end. So I'm sure you can see what is happening already. This is what we have, guys. This is what we have. So cool. So we're going to be aiming this point, or you can just stack it down just to make sure it doesn't come off. You can do that, or you can do it before fixing in. So what we literally have here is like a ring. Okay, so if you want another shape for this, you can literally put rubber on this overnight. Put rubber on this overnight to create another shape. For now, the shape we have here is the shape that came as it was bought, as it was tied. So if you need to create another shape, you can tie this up this way and you can tie this up this way and then leave it for about 24 hours and then you'll be having another shape created. I hope you understand that.
So it's time to fix
the laminated one. Don't forget that we said we'll be using the big size for the laminated one. We'll be using the big size for the laminated one. So just like we did before, I'm going to measure what we have here. I'm going to measure what we have from here to the end of the fabric. So here we have 38. So I will not be cutting 38. I'll be cutting 36 instead. You know why? That's because we need to finish off this edge. We also need to finish off that edge. So, but if you don't mind, you can use trimmings to finish off the edges by using it to cover it, whichever one that you want. So as usual, also I'm going to measure these bones. That's the fish bone. Measure 36. Remember we measured 38 earlier. I'll measure 36 and half, and I'll cut it. I measure 36 and half because I know I'll still bond the edges off. So because this is quite thick, it's harder to cut. You know, it's thicker than the first one that we cut. So here we go. So I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to cut. I'm going to count how many we have here. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So I'm going to be cutting 16 of this size. Here we have burnt the edges of this one, just like we did for the first one. So the next thing I'm going to be doing now is that I'm going to be fixing this into the fabric. And don't forget that this was laminated, so it's quite thick. The fabric is thicker than the other one. So here we have the laminated organza here. So we've put in all our bonnets. This is what we have. This is looking really, really good.